when you get present, like that's where you really feel the unlimited potential. The more present you are, the more unlimited potential there is. Join us for an inspiring episode as we dive into the life of Jerremy Newsome, a self-made trader and founder of the real life trading community that empowers individuals with freedom, education, and trading. Guiding them to embrace financial freedom and beyond, Jerremy has a remarkable journey from being raised in poverty in Georgia in a confined Jehovah's Witness community to becoming a trading sensation, while also discovering the power of love, purpose, and philanthropy. What draws me to Jerremy is his philosophy that monetary success alone does not guarantee happiness, and why he is determined to enrich others' lives and give back to create an impact that extends far beyond the realm of finance. Jerremy's journey is not just about trading. It's about creating a legacy of love and change. He is now channeling the proceeds from his trading ventures into ending human trafficking. And if that wasn't enough to fuel the flames of a potential man crush, he is also out pushing his physical capabilities. He's a two-time Ironman, two-time Calendar Club finisher. He bear crawled 5K, has done 10,000 push-ups in one day, and did 14,200 jump ropes in 24 hours. The only thing that extends his love of pushing what he's capable is his love for his family and beautiful wife, Svetlana. Jerremy is also the host of the Broker Woke podcast that is known for its honest and relatable stories, as well as its actionable advice. It's been featured in publications such as Forbes, Entrepreneur, and Huffington Post. So if you're looking for inspiration and motivation to improve your life, the Broker Woke podcast is a great listen. So with that, it gives me butterflies and brings me great pleasure to welcome my guest today, Mr. Jerremy Alexander Newsome, to the show.
Dude, that was legendary. Legendary.
I had to. That's
amazing.
So now you can use that in your YouTube. You can just take that intro and just say, hey, this is who I am.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start sending it to people. I'm just gonna cut your thing out and just like voice memo it to people.
Yeah, there you go, bro. You deserve it.
Thank you.
You deserve it, man. You've done all of that, and it was so awesome looking into all of that. So congratulations on your success of your podcast. Obviously, you're doing very well over there. So congratulations. Number one in Lithuania, right?
That's right. We're picking up steam in Ghana right now too. So
wow.
Random countries, but I'm loving it.
That's awesome. How did that come about?
The Broke to Woke podcast started with 2020. Brittany Turner reached out to me. So she's the co-host, and I really wanted more people to hear her story. I truly do not feel like there's a lot of female perspectives on motivation, right? I mean, let's think about it. You have Oprah, you have Mel Robbins,
Brene Brown.
It's starting to shrink, right? I mean, yes, Sarah Blakely's on the list for sure, but like there's just not a huge, amazing list. And she's an incredible human being. So smart, so dedicated. I want more people to hear her voice. I wanted more people to hear her story. And so I literally just asked her. I mean, this was a crazy ask too. I was like, hey, I would love to interview you in a podcast.
Had you been working with her? What was your guys' association?
No, that's the thing. I hadn't been. We met for the very first time I did that podcast. I just asked her, and the words I used just fit in perfectly with her big life vision. So she creates what's called a eulogy, and she updates a eulogy like once every year. And her eulogy is just
her eulogy.
Her eulogy. Yep. So it's an exercise that she helps so many people with every day. Sit down, come up with the end of your life. What did you do? What did you accomplish?
Yeah.
And she actually said in there in the eulogy that Brittany Turner connects and builds the bridge between poverty and prosperity.
Oh.
And that's the exact line that I sent her in a text message. Hey, I would love to do this. I would love to do this podcast. Here's my vision for it. I think we can take people from in poverty to prosperity. And she was like, connects, aligned, boom, I'm doing it.
How did you hear her say that? And that's why you used her words back?
No, not. It was just one of those.
What? So you're saying the universe is real?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Crazy cool, man. It was really, really like that. But that was the goal. That's the mission. I mean, again, the whole podcast essentially is just taking people from, if you're here, let's get you here, and building that bridge and kind of helping people walk across it. So it was an alignment thing. And then now her and I have done tens of millions of dollars of business together. She's an incredible human being. She pours into people. Phenomenal person. So yeah, the podcast is awesome. And she's a great person. She's actually going to give birth to her firstborn son in October. So shout outs to her and Jerremy Locke. Yeah. Cool.
Wow,
Great
that's
group.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay, I have a lot that I want to just dive into on what you said. But in case people didn't get from my amazing intro, can you give us a quick synopsis of, being raised in Georgia to kind of where you're at now?
Yeah, I mean, the crazy cool synopsis is it just started with dreaming big and not losing zeal. The movie Forrest Gump is what changed my life forever. And I still haven't met Tom Hanks yet. So if anyone has a Tom Hanks connection, let me know.
Yeah.
I do want to meet him. Just say, hey, thanks for playing that character. Forrest Gump's actually a book, random fact. And I love the book. It's a great book, but I watched the movie first. And in the movie, he invests into a fruit company with Lieutenant Dan, makes a bunch of money, and uses that money to be a force for good. Builds a church, build a hospital, build a school, retires Bubba's mom from the kitchen. And I asked my dad, what's investing? What's the fruit company? He tells me about Apple computers. He tells me about the stock market. And since a very early age, I knew I wanted to do that because I saw what money could do in a good way. So we're talking about a core memory. We're talking about like one of my top first 5 memories of all time. I was 6 years old when I watched this movie. So that is
was that maybe because of your living situation that you're like, oh my gosh, I want money?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was just, I was happy, right? We were very happy as a family, but we didn't have a lot of money or really any at all. So it just seemed like, wait a minute, this is something that people can do. Like I've always, since birth, since I've been able to even consciously be aware of it, I've always been very happy giving. I've loved being generous. If I was at the river and I caught more fish than someone else who didn't catch any, I would give him some of the fish that I caught, right? Just for free. Like, hey man, you didn't catch any. Here's some that I have that they're extra. Right. Enjoy. I've always been that way. And so when I saw that transformation of pouring back into the community, of using money, and money never changed Forrest, right? He was just Forrest and just nothing ever happened. He just was him. And I just saw all the good things that come from being wealthy. And I was like, that's the life that I want to live. And so it was just
without the mullet.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I need to grow a mullet one day. That's
I'm sure books. Svetlana would be real happy about that.
It's in the books.
Okay. So you got interested in how you said you were like 7 at that time? Yeah.
6, 7 years old. And then just the process of like life, I asked my dad, like, what should I do when I go to college? What should I study when I go to college? He said, study money. Everyone wants more of it. So you should learn how to get it and give it to them. It's like, all right, cool. So they didn't have a money degree, but they had a finance degree. Right. So I went for finance at the University of Florida, go Gators. And as you know, I learned everything about day trading, options, commodities, foreign currency, day trading, long-term investing. I didn't learn anything about anything I wanted to learn at college. So I had to do the whole self-study route, the podcast, the books, the webinars, the seminars.
They had podcasts back then. When did you go to college?
They had a few. Yeah, there was a few podcasts back then. It was actually technically internet radio.
There you go. Yeah.
And I did have I did actually have an internet radio channel called the Crockpot back in 2005.
Oh wow, I'm gonna go search that. That didn't come up in my investigation. Dang.
Enjoy, you'll have fun.
Dang.
But yeah, I mean, so internet radio, listening to that, a lot of books, a lot of library time, a lot of studying, a lot of seminars, a lot of webinars. There were some webinars at the time through GoToMeeting, etc.
How were you paying for that while you were in college?
I mean, college library, like books are free.
Okay. I didn't know if you were paying to go to seminars and all those things.
I did, but most seminars generally are huge sales pitches. 99% of them are free, right?
Don't tell people that. No one
Huge, man.
knows.
No one knows. It's a secret. The
It's a
secret's out.
master class to teach you something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you show up, it's free. They do a huge sales pitch. And
Yeah.
I never liked them. Never learned very much in them.
Okay.
Always want to do something different. And I loved it. The biggest and best education I ever got. I was 18 and a half, 19. I worked at a company called Nationwide Insurance. When you work at Nationwide Insurance, and again, shout out to Nationwide, great company. Loved my experience there. They have a 401k plan for their employees. There was a lady one day walked around and giving out 401k packets. It's like your insurance, like, hey, read over this. This is a benefit. You have this. She gave me the packet and I read it cover to cover. Like,
were you always good at reading technical stuff? Like, man, my background in engineering, like reading was not for me. Like I'm so visual,
yeah.
but reading would put me in a coma.
If only if I'm interested. That's the
and
truth.
401k, who doesn't want to read about a 401k? Yeah, exactly.
Well, I knew it was like finance, stock market stuff, and I wasn't really getting this in college. So I was like, this is what I want to learn about. And so I just committed to, I'm going to read it. And at the time, dude, blew me away with the kind of information that was in there. Unbelievable. And to this day, I do every now and then, like coaching sessions with individuals. I'll just look over their 401ks, IRAs, and see what they're invested in. Because they don't know. Most people don't know. They put themselves in a 2060 retirement fund and they throw $5,000 a year into it. And that's it. That's their stock market experience. And that's so tiny. It's a minuscule fraction of what's out there. And I wanted people to be intelligent with it. So I just kind of learned it. Yeah.
Wow, that's insane, man. And the crazy thing is as an engineer, like, oh, I'm good with numbers and all that. So like, even in my 401k, like I went in and dabbled, but I never went through and read anything. So now you
it's cool. And I'm happy to, I'm happy to do that for you. So
thanks for just a little salting of shame as we're having this conversation.
Well, Appreciate also let me know. I mean, I'm happy to have that session with you, man. I can look over and just see what's in there for you and show you how to use it. Like I eventually learned that you can do a self-directed 401k. I didn't know that was a thing.
Right.
So I started trading my own money, and that's how everything changed. I bought 1,000 shares of silver, and
what age was this that you started to?
This is 19. So this is 16 years ago.
19.
Yeah, 16 years ago. Yep.
I think I was working on my Honda Civic at 19.
Bro, but I drove a 2004 Pontiac Montana at the time.
What is the Montana? Is that the van?
You know it, baby.
Dang, I remember the commercial for that.
Dude, and my AIM, you remember AIM? My AIM messenger name was Pontiac Van. So
see, I wasn't as cool as you. Because your AIM and Apple, clearly, obviously looking at your computer, you're upper class. I was just ICQ. I didn't make it to the AIM. I stayed at the low. And then I stayed with the Android as well. So it goes to show.
Yeah. Anyways. All
right. Okay. So at 19, you started to trade. Everything was starting to go good. Like, how did it go right out the gate?
Yeah, it did. It started to go good immediately. I learned the math of trading very, very quick. Because again, no one really teaches you this. It sounds obvious, but I'll teach all of your listeners right now. If you buy 1,000 shares of anything, doesn't matter what it is, and it goes up $3, you make $3,000. That's the math. And that math will work forever. And what's fantastic is that's exactly the very first trade I ever took. I bought, stock is still around, First Majestic Silver, ticker symbol AG. I actually Googled, bro, you're gonna like this. Great. And I went to Google and went, which silver stock to buy? And that was the very first thing that came up. That was my investment thesis. So I go to my 401k.
Evaluate more of like, how's it been doing? Is it?
Get out of here. You're insane. So
no, nonsense. You can't call me insane when you're the tool time that goes and reads a 401k document. Like, I don't like to research, but I'm going to read like 100-page thesis.
Yeah.
But okay, keep going.
No research, man. Just like I'm in, I'm ready. Let's go. I bought it. 1,000 shares. It was $9. That's how much money I had in my 401k. I had like $9,000 exactly. So I bought 1,000 shares and it went up $12 and I sold it. I made $3,000 in like 2 weeks. And here was a problem with that. That was more than I made it at work in a month, right? My total net monthly paycheck was like $2,600.
Okay.
Dude, everything changes. Everything changes. Like that. I love that moment in my life, man, because it grounded me so quickly into, wait a minute, you can do this, right? Not some rich person in New York. Like you actually can trade the market and you can make money in the markets, not other people. You can do it. And it was just so cool. So cool.
But when you say cool, like what was the feeling? Like, was it an empowerment sort of thing of like, I get to define my future at this moment?
Freedom. Exactly.
Yeah.
I started doing the Excel spreadsheets like, oh, all right, what if I make $3,000 a month plus my work? I'm like, boom, boom. I'm going to make $5,000. I'm going to start paying off this. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to do this.
Get out
this,
of that Montana van.
Yeah, dude. I'm going to get a nice Chevy Silverado truck. I'm going to get a Jeep. I'm going to put a sound system in it. All the things. Right.
Right.
The story does go well for another year and some change. I started trading my dad's money at Charles Schwab. At the time, there's no 2FA, right? So he just gives me his password, username. I log in, take 100,000, turn it to 150,000. He's loving life. He tells some of his buddies, they put some money in because at this point he has a decent job, right? We got out of poverty, kind of. We moved from Georgia to Florida. I guess I forgot to mention that part. So I'm in Florida now. He got a big boy job. Knows some people, tells them, hey man, my son, he's in college, he's killing it. You should learn how to, so they give me their login. At 20 years old, I have $400,000 of other people's money.
Wow.
And I turn it into 1.2 million. And then
how and what time frame was that from 400 to 1.2?
About 9 months, give or take.
Wow. Was that because the market was just out of control? Okay. So you were a genius.
Yeah, it's just going straight
with
up.
everybody else.
Yeah, it was just going straight up, was crushing it. And then I bought silver at its highest price ever, to the penny. Actually, I own the unofficial Guinness World Book of Record for buying silver at its highest price. And I did it with something that expires. So they go to zero. These are called call options. I didn't know anything about them. I just learned them like 2 weeks before. And so again, I do have a blend of I'll study anything. And then once I kind of think I know it, I'll just go all in.
Wow.
And
what a superpower.
I learned a very valuable lesson. And I've studied this lesson a lot. I've actually written about it a little bit in my book, and I've talked a little bit about it. Just the lesson of I didn't feel like I deserved $1.2 million. It came to me too quickly. I didn't have the value associated with it. I wasn't a container for that kind of money. So just like how 89% of people who win the lottery go broke, I had won the lottery, right? And I went broke because I didn't have the financial acumen to be a container of that type of wealth. So sure enough, weeks later, that $1.2 million is worth like hundreds of dollars, not hundreds of thousands, hundreds. I bought a bunch of options. They all go to zero. And I'm in the pit of hell, pit of despair, bottom of the barrel, rock bottom.
Wait, but before we go to the rock bottom, because I want to definitely touch there, because I want you to feel some shame since you sparkled some on me. When you're on your way to 1.2, because I love your thing of, you didn't have the financial acumen to, support and have that. What about when you were on the rise though? Because one could argue of, well, when you were at 6 or 8 or 900,000, why weren't you destroying it at that point? What do you know or think of like, oh, once it got to 1 million or 1.2, that was the one?
3 reasons, I think. Number one, I was riding the bull market of silver, and this is 2010, so stuff was going really well. Then there's the flash crash of 2010, so the market starts going down. I didn't know how to trade bearish markets. I wasn't aware how to handle that, so I could only make money as it goes up. So that was number one. So technically, I was challenged, and it was just a matter of time.
Okay.
Number two, that $1 million is a huge mark for most people. Like, who really says like, I want to be worth $500,000? It's like, I'm sure people will, but everyone kind of has that million. Like, I want to be a millionaire. And I had said that before at the age of a young age. Like, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. And I wasn't a millionaire, but I had access to $1 million. So then it created like this unalignment, right? I think
Right.
all this is subconscious, of course. Like there's this unalignment there. And then number three, I wasn't absolutely moronic with the money. I did pull some money out with my dad because he was at retirement age at this point. He had me pretty late in life. He had me in his late 40s. So he's already 60 and some change. He's past retirement. So we're pulling some money out. I did buy a house in Gainesville. I did send him on a bunch of trips. He went to Istanbul, Puerto Rico,
Oh, wow.
Spain. He bought a bunch of camera equipment. So we did spend some of the money, and I bought an asset or two. But at 600, 700, 800,000, I was going to every bar in Gainesville. I was buying up the whole bars. I had a fake ID, whatever. Judge me later. And so we're drinking with everyone. I'm partying. I'm walking around Nationwide Insurance, eating crab legs and blackberries, wearing the same exact tuxedo that they have in Dumb and Dumber.
Which one? The yellow or the blue one?
The blue
Or the orange? Orange or blue?
I bought both, bro. I had the blue
Oh.
and the orange. And I'd walk around eating crab legs and blackberries like middle of the day because I didn't really care about work.
Why were you even still working there at that time?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I liked the job. It was a good job. It was good people. And
What were you doing at Nation? Were you selling insurance?
No, actually, I worked at the particular time. I worked at the diminishment of value department. So,
Oh, that's fitting.
yeah, I just right. Another one that was like,
An
oh,
omen.
Precisely, dude. Precisely. So there was a lot of random disalignment and things that were happening. And again, I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. I don't know what's going on. I don't know anything. I'm doing all the wrong things, drinking too much, partying too much, doing the drugs, doing the girls, going to clubs, doing the things, trying to impress people, not knowing who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm still in the Jehovah's Witness thing also. So
Whoa.
now I'm way out of alignment because now I'm getting what's called disfellowship. So I'm getting kicked out of the organization because of all my activities. And so that's causing pain, right? Because all my friend and my family, my mother's still in.
You wanted to stay in even though you were acting out?
Yeah, I want to stay in because that's where all my family and friends were. Like that's all I knew since the age of 0. Like,
but you weren't practicing. Were you still going to your meetings and all that stuff? I was
going to the meetings. You're not allowed to go out in what's called field service if you're disfellowshipped. So I wasn't able to go out in field service, but
prior to being
prior to getting kicked out, I did. I went, I was in
Okay.
field service once or twice a month on Saturday mornings. I would go knock on your door and try to convince you that you don't know what you're doing. And like, your religion is wrong.
Were you wearing your tux at the time? Because I would, if someone came in a tux and tried to, I'd be like, dude, I don't know what you're doing, but those crab legs and blackberry, like, let's go.
Oh, bro, you're so funny, man.
Let's go.
I didn't wear the tux to the door to field service, but I did have a lot of other suits. Yeah, I should have. It probably would have worked.
Yeah, you probably would have converted so many people because you would have just had such a good conversation from the get-go.
That's so good. Yeah, man, it was a weird time, dude. The early 20s were definitely very tumultuous. There's a lot of like two-faced. I didn't know who I was. I didn't have values. I wasn't holding to myself to the standards. I was all over the place, just really figuring myself out. So I was in no place, no container to actually hold wealth.
Right. Okay. So let's go back into the bottom. So then you had the 1.2. Was it a few bad trades or was it just literally one bad trade?
Yeah, a couple, 2 or 3. It wasn't a lot. Yeah,
and then you're out of not only your dad's retirement, because he's retired at this point. That's all of his savings. How many of his buddies and friends as well?
4 buddies. So the whole, so 4 separate people. So I had to reach out to each one of them, tell them, hey, I lost your money.
Wait. It's not as easy as just reaching out to someone and saying, like, did you get a hold of your dad first and say, hey, Pops, like, this is what happened? And
he was awesome, man. He's always been so gracious. But yeah, he at the time said, son, I've been poor before. I can be poor again, and I'm sure you'll get it back. And then he said, and I didn't pay for you to go to college. So I'll just put in like that was your college tuition.
And bro, like that literally is making me cry. Like that's like the most beautiful thing ever.
Yeah. It was crazy too, man. Like I went back to all of this just to experience it. And my dad, Like I was just trying to get his approval anyway.
Right.
That's all I was trying to do. Like I just want to make him happy.
What a great opportunity for that to come full circle of him being like, dude, you don't need to do anything. You've done it. You're there. Like, stop.
Yep. Yeah, it was a beautiful
Wow.
moment. So I did. I
Wow.
called him.
Which
We
is
had that chat.
crazy. I want to stay there because like the fact that some people will see that, oh my gosh, that's so terrible, but like there's so much beauty and that necessarily probably had to happen and all this like this you and I kind of talked about this before we started, but like there's so much value in the pain that all of us are trying to avoid the pain of not wanting to feel it, but like look what transpired, look like we're going to talk into the next chapter, but like from that pain how much you grew and changed from that. Like that's just amazing.
It's huge. Yeah, it was huge. And it was such a great gift.
Yeah. Okay.
Such
So
a great
then
gift.
he's, hey, don't worry about it. You're my son. I love you and do whatever you want. So what about, did he reach out to his friends or did you say, you know what, I'm going to do it right and get a hold of
Yep.
these people and talk to them or?
Yep. I did it. And I called him. I was like, hey, I'm gonna pay you back. Let's come up with a promissory note. I'm not going to pay back all of what I lost,
What
but
was your guarantee on your Montana van?
no, I just told him like, I'll just pay you back until I die kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
I promise I'm 21. Like, what are you gonna do? Sue me? So I was
Yeah.
like, I told him, I was like, hey, I'll pay you back your investment plus 20% interest.
Were they living off of any of the money at the
No,
time? So they,
no,
oh,
no.
okay. So they were, I mean, they were just freaked the F out, I'm sure.
Yeah, they were pissed, but like they were like, hey man, thanks for at least trying to get my money back. Like that's what they said. I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm gonna try really hard to get your money back. So I set up in my head. So at the time, I did the math, $400,000 of people's money that I owe. 20% of that is $480,000. My brain was like, all right, probably gonna take 10 years to pay that back. $4,000 a month for 10 years. That's $480,000. I was like, all right, cool. That's what I'm gonna do. And I just put my mind to it. And it started happening faster than that because I started asking different questions and working harder and becoming more efficient, optimizing my time and trading a little bit better. And then everything started to shift and it started to slowly work out. But I was able to pay everyone back a little bit faster and kind of like mid to late 20s.
So how many years did it take you to pay them back?
So I had to pay my dad back first, bro, because so he got
'Cause he
diagnosed with
needed it.
prostate cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he got diagnosed with prostate cancer, and I was like, all right, now I got a timeline because that was my thing. Like I got to pay him back
Oh, you
before he
want to do
dies.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he cared. I'm sure he cared.
yeah, he cared
Yeah.
to an extent,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
on his deathbed, we're chatting, and he's like, "Hey, man, just make sure your mom's taken care of." You know, he was all into poetry, so he said, "I'm for the worms." He's like, "I'm for the worms," like Shakespeare quote. Make sure your mom's taken care of. Make sure she's everything has everything she needs. I don't need the money. Make sure she's good. I was like, got it. So took care of that. Right, I've retired my mom. She lives in her dream house as of now, and we have a much better relationship than we had at the time. And yeah, so then I started. All right, cool. I got my dad taken care of. Let me work on these other guys, and just started chipping away at their debts.
So then did you change were you still working at,
Nope.
no?
Nationwide, no. At this point, so I'm 25. So I left Gainesville, Florida, left Nationwide at 24. Worked there for 6 years, 18 to 24. Moved up to Nashville, Tennessee, which is where I live now, and I've been here since 2012. So
Okay.
coming up on 12 years, and yeah, came up here, got like a little bit of a second job, and then started trading. And I launched Real Life Trading in November 5th, 2014.
Oh,
So we're
wow.
coming up on 9 years. It'll be 10 years next year. Yeah, thanks, man. And I just pour all my time, energy, and effort into this company and helping other people avoid the mistakes that I did,
Right.
because I did them all. Every mistake that you can do, I did it times 5. So I made all the mistakes. And so now I can avoid it. And I've been to all the classes, webinars, seminars, courses, programs, disliked most of them. Always felt like I could do it better. So I do. So now I host some of the greatest trading retreats on earth.
I've
People
seen
learn the
some of the
most.
stuff. It looks
Yeah.
nuts.
They're very good, man. They're
You're
very, very
trying to
immersive.
convince me to go into trading.
I am, or at least learn more about it. Yeah, for
So,
sure.
dude, I'm trying to stay one track on my thing. It's so hard when you see these other things. You're like, oh my gosh, this guy is so handsome. I just want to go listen to him talk. Let me go in my office and listen to Jerremy, babe. Don't worry about it.
I'll be back later.
She'll be worried. Yeah. But so what habits did you really change when you got to Tennessee? Because you said you were boozing and partying and all that you said you started to change stuff. Like what did you have to grow up or change to really get in?
That takes a while. That the boozing and the partying took a little bit to change. So that was probably 6 years ago. So 29, 30. That's when things start to shift into more of the better, amazing, incredible life.
Right. Isn't it crazy how I think all my clients and all the people that I coach and help, it's like usually right around that 30 is when you get fed up of the BS and the way that, because you were like, oh, well, this next thing's going to fix this next thing, this next is going to make me feel. And you just get tired of lying to yourself. And you finally take that real look in the mirror and you're just like, this isn't who I want to be. Like, what do I really want? And start asking those deeper questions.
Precisely, man. And so that was about 5-6 years ago.
Wow. Okay. But I want to go and then we can move on. But I know you to get the money. Like, I know from watching your thing, like how you got the money to get it started. Are you allowed to talk about that, or or is there marks out on you that you can't discuss that?
No, that was my rock bottom, man. Yeah, I went through before I did this, and I'll tell you all the listeners, before I go to the deep dark place, I get cash advances. I do empty my 401k. I find life insurance policies. I do cash advance loans. I'm doing all the things to do to access money as quick as possible, to just like fund accounts and try to figure out how to trade.
And how much money do you think that you acquired doing these methods?
30,000, 40,000.
Okay. So you had 30,000, and did you burn through that? Did that work or not?
Yeah, burn through all that. That was just like,
and I love you said this at the beginning, that you said that you dreamed without losing the zeal. So how did you keep that? You just lost 1.2. You scrounged and scrapped to get 30,000. Like, the universe, for some people, would be like, the universe is telling me this is not for me. Like, go do something else. Go learn how to fish, Bubba Gump. Like, let's go.
Well, you know what's interesting, man, is I looked at worst case scenario, and I know I love that you and I are both in coaching, and also we both met at a Joe Dispenza conference, right? I sat right next to you, and I met you and your perfect, lovely wife. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because I looked at my worst case scenario, and I have a lot of my coaches, a lot of people I work with. It's like, let's analyze your worst case scenario. Like, what's actually going to happen if you do this and you do it incorrectly? How much money are you gonna lose? Like, what's the worst case scenario? And we always overhype worst case scenario. My worst case scenario, I was single, dude. Like, I had no kids, no family, no one to rely on me. No, like, I had a house and me and a Pontiac, Montana, which was such a nice van. So nice. So
Did you have a bed in the back?
I should have to.
Dang, man.
I should have.
Missed opportunities.
It's like, what are you gonna do?
But you could have tried anything. You could have been like anything but this.
I could have, but I knew, I felt, and I saw the possibilities were there. I know the math.
Where was it at? Like, where was that coming from? I'm just so fascinated. I love getting into people's mindset of like, what was it in you, that intuition or whatever, that you're like, this is it? Because so many people will get into that moment, and then they'll see that as a signal. Again, most people are avoiding pain. They don't realize that pain is the path of progress. So when they'll get into that pain, they'll be like, this is it. I don't like this. I'm going to go back to school to be an engineer, or go to be an accountant, or whatever. Like, how can I pivot? How did you persevere and be like, I'm going through this?
The only answer I can give you is I did not know that there were other opportunities, in the sense of I didn't even place a possibility of doing anything else. I had burned the boats. I put on Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rome every day.
Yeah.
That's all I was listening to. And they're all like, fucking go. Right.
Right.
Like that was the type of motivation. It's like, there's no plan B. This is plan A. I'm going to figure it out. And that was it, man. And the truth is, with a lot of the endurance things that you mentioned and you talked about in the intro, it's the same kind of thing. Like now I've spurred into that because I wasn't at all into physical sports of any kind really until 2019, 2018, 2019. So it's only been a 4 or 5 year journey. And saying all that to say, I just wanted to keep going because I did not allow myself to even consider any other option.
So would you say that's the advice for other people out there that are running into, oh, this is hard? Is that mean that they need to push through? Or do you think that there is, because I think what I always struggle with, because I don't know if you know my background, I was an engineer for 13 years and I pivoted. I walked away from that to do my coaching and real estate stuff. But
Which is awesome.
I'm so grateful that I push, but I also wonder when I'm coaching and helping people, like, do they need to push through this or do they need to pivot? And the thing that at least I've came up with, so I would love your input, is what works best for me is, why do you not want to do this? Is it because it's challenging and you're fearful? If that's the case, you got to get through this. The other one is, the only other option I've came up with is this in alignment with who and what you want to be? And if that's not it, then you earn the right to move away. But most of my clients that I'll be talking to, they'll be like, oh, I don't like this. And I'll be like, well, why not? And it's because it's confrontation, it's pain, and they don't want it. And I'm like, if you don't deal with this pain and this challenge in this scenario, I guarantee you the universe is going to give you that same challenge, just in a different flavor in a year or 2 years down the road. So it's in your best interest to push through this. Once you get past it, now you can make the decision, do you want to keep doing this thing or not? Anyway, back to you. Sorry.
No, that's, dude, thank you. Thank you for that. I think that's very, very true. Cause you mentioned the word alignment. That's what I heard very clearly. It's like, is this what you're destined to be? And I believe the answer for a lot of people will at some point be probably not. Like, who's really designed to do those things forever? Some people will be, some people won't be. But the question of should you keep going is, has it worked before in the past? I work with a lot of traders who have traded for 5, 6 years, and they're like, yeah, Newsome, but you always say, bro, you burned the boats, right? Like you had no plan B. I'm like, yeah, dog. But remember, I turned 400 to 1.2. You took 400 and just went straight down and have never made money. But that's the difference, right? It's like, I did make money.
Right.
I have made money in the past. Like that was a problem. It's like, I know it works. So it's something in here.
Right.
And I was willing to figure that out. I was like, I have seen the results. I need to get $400,000 again. And if I get $400,000 again, I'll turn into 1.2. Like that is, hello, it's right there in front of me.
Right.
I've done it before. That's the difference. For a lot of individuals, I go, well, if it's a hard time, have you done a 100-mile race before? Yes. Cool. Well, you know that mile 60 is going to suck. Let's figure it out together, right? Have you been successful before? If you keep failing and you've never made it, try something else, because you're not in alignment probably. Yeah, that'd be my answer.
I like that. That's a good answer. Okay, so let's go back. So 30,000, that got burnt away. And rather than using that of, hey, I'm not in alignment, you're like, you know what? I'm clearly in alignment here. I'm so excited. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to get to lose more money. Let me keep going.
Sorry.
Because the 10 and the 20 wasn't enough. Because I can't imagine that you got 30 all in one swoop. And
it was different. Exactly.
You're just constantly like, I got 5, I got 10. Okay, I lost that. Let me get 5 or 10 more. Okay, lost that. But that wasn't enough.
No. And so I started asking people, and then I started asking people like, hey, do you know anyone who has some extra money that they want to like literally risk on mortgage? Do you know anyone who wants to lose money? And so I asked about a guy, his name was Kevin. Kevin was like, I know a guy. He introduced me to a guy, and that guy introduced me to his brother. And I had met, this brother guy. He drove up into a very interesting car, one of the faster cars, gets out of the car, has $12,000 in a paper bag, a bunch of his friends around. He's in a little bit of a nicer outfit and has an Uzi, and like gives me the money. Has the Uzi and just taps it, like pulls it out, holds it, and is like, hey man, if you don't pay me back, I'm gonna kill you. It's 30% interest a month. And here's the address to pay me. That was it. That was the transaction.
What was going on in your mind when, like, because all of this coming, right? Because I could see so many people being like, oh yeah, I want it. And I think this is really good for you doing your extreme stuff too. You claim you want it, but when it becomes that opportunity, bullshit. Like, do you really want it? So I could see so many people going through that. They get there, and once they see the Uzi or in that situation, like, ooh, yeah, I'm out. I'm nope, not for me. So what was going through your mind at that moment? Or were you just like when you're at mile 60 and 100 mile, or at,
I think I was delirious, dude. It was one of those like,
wow, I love
I
that.
don't know what to do. So it wasn't one of those like I just took the bag and like agreed to it, kind of like a sheep. I was like, I have no clue what's going on right now. And then they all kind of got in the car and left. I just had this. I looked in, yeah, dude, for sure enough, right? Like,
Sure enough. Because I did so good with the last 30, this 12.
but here's what's awesome.
12. Yeah,
here's what's awesome, dude. This is amazing, amazing, amazing. What I learned from that lesson and what propelled me, because that was it. That was my rock bottom, like in a Kroger parking lot on 34th Street in Gainesville, Florida. What I learned about this was if the accountability is strong enough, you will start to finally follow your systems and rules. Because again, I knew how to trade, dude. I knew the math. I knew how the things worked. I got it. That's why most of us probably most likely haven't robbed a bank, is like, because you don't want to go to jail.
Right.
The pain, it's not worth it. So the pain for me was I need to follow my system and make money, or I'm probably going to die.
Right.
So guess what I did, bro? I followed my system. I started following my system for the first time, like ever, because we're talking about rules.
Did you already have a system? You already had a process. You just weren't following. So the 30 that you burned through, you already had the process.
Yeah.
You just weren't following it. So as soon as you got to 12 and there's an Uzi on the line, you're like, you know what? This Jerremy guy that has this process, I think I'm going to start listening to this dude, because he's all I got right now. It's either him or the Uzi.
And that was it, man. I became a Wolverine. Like I just sat there and just followed my process. Wow. And sometimes my process required me to walk away from the computer for 2 hours, to go get into trades, scared or not. I'd have a certain amount of risk. And something random fact about the stock market, you can take a small amount of money and go buy access to a larger sum of capital. So when people are like, well, $12,000, like, how'd you make that much money with $12,000? It's like, oh, no. You can buy $500,000 of trading capital for $5,000.
Wow.
That's available right now. Like,
and what if you lose it? Are you required?
Good question. So generally you can only lose the money that you put in.
Yeah.
And in accounts like this, they'll give you the leverage like a bank, but you'll only lose. So
how's this secured then? How can I say, yeah, take this 5, but I'm going to leverage it and get 500?
You're right. So you're leveraging your 5,000. So that's how it's secured. Is like you can lose, maybe you'll lose a little bit of their money, but not tons. Like maybe lose $2 or $3, $4, $5,000, but you're not going to lose a lot. They're going to have hard stops with algorithms, with robots, with AI, all that kind of cool stuff. And they'll just get you out of the account. And so real life trading, we currently have a product like this. We do, where you can access, 100 times X with a purchase, and we will give you the money. So with $12,000, they take $2,000 off the top, poof, gone. That's theirs. We take $10,000, and now I have access to $1 million of buying power, of day trading capital that I can trade with. And I just was nice and slow, calm, steady, and resilient. And I started trading with what's called a $1,000 risk unit. So I'll take $1,000, and I took out of that $10,000, I'll take, 1,000 shares of Apple at the time, buy 1,000 shares of Apple, sell it $3 higher, make $3,000, and just repeat that 200 times a year is 600 grand, right? Wow.
So it can happen pretty quickly. Do you get a percentage? Because if you're only in 10,000 of the million, you get a percentage of the proceeds of profits as well. Okay.
Yeah. Usually it's about somewhere between 60 and 75% of the profit that you make that you get to keep, and it's paid out 1099.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So that's what I did. I ended up buying into one of those programs, and it worked, and made about $500,000, and then took that money out and then leveraged it again. and just kind of kept scaling and started accessing a lot of capital very quickly. And I was starting to become a container where I could actually hold wealth, because then I started doing the things that wealthy people do: buying assets, buying houses, buying real estate, looking at books, going to courses, healing classes, therapy, yoga, Tony Robbins,
I love
Mel
the
Robbins.
throw in of therapy.
Yeah, dude, sprinkle. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And did all the things for many, many years to just make sure that I was in the right space. And fortunately / unfortunately, we don't even have the time. I got to skip over like 6 years of other shit that happened between 24 and 29, really. Lawsuits, deaths, family members dying, things that were just crumbling, falling apart, all kinds of pain. My 20s were just riddled with pain. And there was big moments where I realized it was happening for me to finally start making a change, to finally stop going in with the alcohol and the pills and the booze and all the things, and just start to put my body first, put my mind first, put my relationships first, put spirituality first, put all those things first, and then start working, and don't worry about the money, right? Money solves your money problems. Money doesn't solve your relationship problems. It doesn't solve your God problems. It doesn't solve your physical problems, right? Like, you got to do other things. That's why I love the Ironman race. I have another one in 6 weeks. You can't buy a finish. Right? You can have the nicest bike, you can have the nicest shoes, you can do it. You can't buy a finish, dude. You got to do it.
Love that.
And that's what I love about it, man.
Where's that at? Where's your next one?
Chattanooga, if you want to come. Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Oh, man, dude, I don't know if my taint could handle a bike ride. Full disclosure, man. I need to be beating that Bobby up real good before I get on one of those. But it's on my thing.
Heck yeah.
I would love to start doing. But dude, when I saw you did the 5K bear, like, my lower back just lit up just seeing 5K of a bear crawl. Like, bear crawling, like 100 yards would destroy my back.
I met a guy, his name is Devin, 26.2 miles. He did it for suicide prevention for veterans as like an awareness campaign. And
how did that not make him commit suicide? Like, I would have been out.
This guy's he's a superb athlete. I mean, he's one of the best athletes in the world. Just a specimen. And honestly, dude, I didn't even know that existed until I met him at an event, and he told me, and I was just blown away. And I was like, well, I gotta try to do something. I can't do 26. That'll be probably my 40s or 50s, maybe 60s. I don't know. But I do want to push a car for a marathon. I am going to do that within 12 months of this recording. And I would like to do it by the end of the year.
When you say push a car, what do you mean by that?
I'm gonna get like a Honda or Toyota and push a car for 26 miles.
Push it the whole way.
Yeah.
with your kids in there driving it, or what?
I'll probably have my 13-year-old steering it. Yeah. Just so they don't like go off the road or something.
By yourself, or are you gonna get a place, or just down the street? Oh man, there goes that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go to like an abandoned. Yeah, I'm gonna go to an abandoned airfield probably. And just go around the airstrip 26 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the significance behind that? Can it be a Montana van? Just
nice. Good.
Yeah.
Call. Good call.
Just for you to dominate your past.
I might, dog. Thank you for that. Thank you. I actually might do that.
Gut it out, but
yeah, it'll be heavier.
Yeah, I think take out the engine, all that jazz. Like, that's got to be pretty heavy. So what's with the pushing of a car? What's the simple?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It kind of popped in my head one day. I'm like, that sounds like a really, really difficult challenge.
Oh,
yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, that's really the thing is, like, I do like to sit down every month, get kind of creative, and just come up with something else that I can do this month. It's just going to be a little bit,
dude,
unique or hard or challenging. Yeah.
I have one after this. I'll share with you. That I'm implementing this month, because I'm the same. I have a list of my I call them level ups.
Sweet.
So every month I try to come up with a level up. Like, one, it was getting rid of caffeine. It was starting, like, my running, actually. I used to hate to run, but one of my level ups was I wanted to redefine the story that running doesn't get to define me. So I started to run just 10 minutes before my workout. And I think it was back in April. I did for the David Goggins thing, 48 miles in 48
Well
hours.
done, dude.
I want to actually do that one every year on April 4th, just as that was an amazing. And the thing that I love about that one is it only takes 2 days. Like
Yeah,
the
it's
thing
over in
with
2
your
days.
guys' Ironmans and all those, like I love that idea, but I don't want to take that much time away running, 20, 50 miles on the
Sure,
weekends. So,
sure. Text me in April. I'll do it with you. I'll do the
okay.
4x4. Yeah, it is. That's an interesting challenge because
It's
I
easy, but it's hard.
precisely, I haven't been mentally exhausted like I have on that challenge. Like I've done a lot of weird things, but that one, like I vividly remember being so I couldn't calculate time. I didn't know where I was. Like I was like, how do I set an alarm? But my brain didn't work like,
Yeah.
46 hours into that event. And it's a beautiful, beautiful event. Shout out to Goggins for coming up with that one. That one's a
Yeah,
very tough.
that's nuts. And again, it's just so easy because it's so easy to run 4 miles. Like you have no, like I remember times that I woke up and I was like, I can't even walk right now. Like, how am I gonna run? I was like, okay, well, if nothing else, I'll just go outside and start walking. And then I
Yeah.
go outside and I start to walk and I'd be like, you know what? I wonder if I can just run. Cause I was like, I can walk and finish 4 miles in under 4 hours. So I was like, okay, perfect. But as I went outside, started to walk, I was like, I wonder if I can jog. And then I just start laughing because I was like, son of a bit, like I can run. Like this is insane. There's no reason why I should be able to run right now. And then
Yep.
it's get it done.
It's cool, man. I love what the body's what we can do with our body.
So,
There's so much power
but
between
I think
all of
that's just a
us.
testament for, I mean, I don't know how much spirituality, but like this just, I mean, that's just your body. Like that's just a small glimpse of what's actually possible for you as a human being, an individual. Like if you can tap into that. And I think that's the best thing. What I've found from mine is like when I tap into the power of being present, like not being in the future, not being in the past, all when we go dispense of stuff. But when you get present, like that's where you really feel the unlimited potential because you're not thinking about the past of what has happened. You're not worried about the future, what is, you're just there. And that's where you draw all this unlimited potential, all this unlimited
Mm,
energy that allows you to do unlimited feats. But
it's
the
just energy.
athletes, yeah, all these athletes have done crazy things. If you listen and talk to them, what they'll say is when they were there, they're in this flow. But when you're, what really is flow is you're just 100% present. And that's why
Mm,
I'm so big on being in my meditation and doing this is the more present you are, the more unlimited potential there is. When you go in the past or in the future, you're in a containment, but at the presence, it's unlimited. Anyway,
I love that, dude. Heck yes. So true.
so
Nailed it. Nailed it.
I've been studying this stuff for a minute. So because I wanted to solve it all. I was so broken and all this as my story goes. So um okay, so you got all the money back in like 2 years and how did it go after that? So then when did you stop and just go 100% into trading?
I was 100% in trading in 2014. 2014, 2015,
Oh, because that's when you
2016.
started real life.
Yeah. 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 So those 3 years were good. I was kind of getting after it. I was doing it the right way. And the one thing that shifted everything, because I became wealthy in 2017,
Okay.
accidentally because of the whole crypto thing. I did happen to buy a bunch of Bitcoin in 2015, 2016. And because I was an asset, I thought at the time, I think it still is personally, but I was making some money and I was taking some money. I was buying Bitcoin with it and Ethereum. Like I owned Ethereum at $11.
Wow.
Like I was putting money into crypto, putting money into crypto. Like that was just some of the money that 10, 20% of whatever I made every month, which at the time was around 50, 60 grand. I was just putting it into crypto
Yeah.
and it exploded in 2017. I held and I did. I sold Bitcoin at 17,000 and then bought some more, a year later around 4 or 5,000 and kind of repeated that cycle. But the 2017 thing worked out really well for me. And that was kind of like my big catalyst. And then in 2017, 2018, I just started saying yes to everything because I'm like, I said yes to everything. I mean, like anything to do with, like you said, therapy, meditation, healing, yoga. That's all stuff I hadn't done before. The only personal development I did was like Tony Robbins, like let's go, like that type of thing, which
Just
is
like
great.
UPW or what?
Yeah, I did tons of UPWs, business mastery, wealth mastery.
Oh, okay.
I was like health and relationships. Nah, I'll just do. I'll make
I don't
money.
need that. I'm fine.
I don't need that at all.
I just need more money.
That's right, dude. Money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, 2017, 2018, definitely started saying yes to all the things. Any kind of therapy, done. I'll do it. I went to AA meetings. I was like, I'll go there. I'll do anything to
Was
just
that an
to learn.
issue? Is that why you went to AA or?
It was for a bit. I didn't know if I was an alcoholic though, and I've talked to alcoholics, and many of them will say, "Hey, you'll know if you were one." And
But
so
you were even questioning. Like I've never questioned.
I
Like
did. I had to question. I'm like, "Am
yeah,
I?
yeah.
Am I?" Because it's like I have a really hard time saying no,
Do
and
you think people that are questioning it is a pretty good indicator that something's going on? Because I can say without a shadow of a, I mean, I wasn't a huge drinker. I actually don't drink really at all anymore. But in college, like I would drink, but just socially, because that's what everybody did. But I hated it. I hated the hangovers. I hated when they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go party." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, can I just sleep?" And then my roommates would drag me out.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, no, if you question it, if you're watching this and you're like, do I have a problem? It's like you should look into going sober for a period of time.
Yeah.
100%. And usually twice a year, I'll go sober for 3 months. I'll train really, really hard. I do drink alcohol, like I said now, but it's like very similar to you, very limited, extremely social, glass of wine, maybe with a friend or two at dinner, that type of thing. So it's pretty sparsed out for me right now, and it will be going forward in the future. But it was something I just didn't have control over. So if I was in the moment, I wouldn't be able to say no. And then once I have one, I'm having 13,
Right.
and there's no in between. I couldn't have two. Like right now, I can have 2 drinks and be great. I'm fine. Like I'm good, and I'm also happy and I'm loving. Back then, if I have 2 or 3 or 4, I'm an a-hole, and like I'm going to be mean to everybody. So I've done a lot of healing work, tons and tons, like inner child healing. Um,
Which one do you think was the most impactful and helpful for you?
that one, yeah, inner child healing
Yeah,
for
I would
sure.
agree 100%.
100%. That one ripped my soul apart. I was a babbling brook of tears for like 4 days. And it was so
What did you do for that? Was that just going to a therapist or was that?
yeah, yeah. Shout out to a lady named Judy, Dr. Judy. She is in Delphi University in McKaysville, Georgia, in the middle of absolutely nowhere. That's where my wife got her doctorate. So my wife has her doctorate in metaphysics, and she
Oh,
was one of the
wow.
ladies that taught her. And so the lady that taught her did my inner child healing, and she just ripped my soul apart.
How
And
did you
I'll tell
find her?
everyone,
Was it because Svetlana?
yeah, because Felana, she was like, before I marry you, I want you to go through this thing to make sure that you're like,
What an
good.
amazing gift. Again,
Oh,
pain to progress, pain
dude.
to progress.
The most transformational thing in my life. I'll tell everyone, if you haven't done it, it's a 4-day event. Do it with whoever can do it, whoever is that capable of holding that type of container for healing. It's the best time and money you'll ever spend. Don't even worry about the money. That's irrelevant. Just do that because you will get so much answers and clarity, and just you will be an absolute fireball.
Love that.
Yeah.
I would agree. I feel like
Yeah.
all the inner child stuff, like, I mean, that's where it all stems from. Your
Yeah.
actions, your behaviors, your
Yeah.
limitations, your
Yeah.
beliefs, all. So that's
That's it,
amazing.
brother. Yeah, man.
So you did that. And that was back in 2019.
No, dude, inner child healing. Inner child healing was 2020, June of 2020 was inner
Okay.
child healing.
So
So
you
we're
were
talking
already
2 years
having your
ago.
financial success and so you had money at this point.
Yeah. So now I'm good. I'm all good. So again, now I'm just getting into the relationship, marriage, husband role,
You're
dad
getting
role.
past the money. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting past
What's
the
next?
money and
Wait,
precisely
where did
focusing.
you and Svetlana meet?
We met at a UPW, man. 2012, Orlando, November 4th, UPW.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just like you and I met in an event, right? Like her and I met in an event. So
Yeah. Those events are amazing
it's where you want to
for
meet people.
meeting like-minded people. Like I think as far as I've learned, like those are the best places for networking.
Yeah, agreed. That's where you want to meet people for sure.
Yeah.
Totally.
Clearly. Well, if you met Svetlana there, then obviously you got proof.
Yep. Yep.
So when you met her, was she teaching you and trying to get you to do some more? No, not at all.
Nope. She was like, "Hey, dude, I'm not your therapist. I'm your lover."
She didn't
So
want to change you.
nope.
Wow, how mature.
Yeah, no, because I mean that's the thing. Like a lot of people, if you want to change somebody, like you shouldn't go into a relationship wanting to fix someone. They
Oh,
should.
blah blah. Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, we all know the cards, but like even I'm crazy guilty because so
Sure.
mine from my inner child nonsense was I wasn't good enough, and if I'm not good enough, I can't get love, all this stuff. So like I was so hard on myself that nothing was enough. So if I see myself as not enough, you got to be certain that's how I see the world. So even when I was with Fernanda, like that's all it was towards her.
Yeah.
But I knew the bumper
100%.
stickers. I knew all the stuff but like it had me turn it off.
Sure. Sure.
So I don't know how she was capable or able to be like, oh yeah, I know I'm not supposed to want to change you, but like you're annoying as all get out.
Yeah, I think it was, man. Like just if how long, I mean, this is a crazy question. Like, how long would you have to hang out with Jesus before you found him annoying? Right. Some people are like, never. Like, but really though, like if you hung out
Yeah.
with him every day, like all the time, like
Yeah,
you,
just be this and a parable this. And there was a farmer that had a
so
dog. Like, well, dude, I've heard that song before. Like, we're done. Like,
kind of, right? So it's like what she does is she realizes everyone will have those quirks. I want to revere you. I want to admire you. I want to
right.
love you. I'm not going to nitpick you. And the things that I don't like about you, I will tell you if they are easily fixable. And if you just smell bad and you're hairy, um, sorry. you know,
Yeah.
oh well, too bad. And yeah, that's the thing is like it's just that healing process of just being really, really comfortable with what it is that you want, getting clear on what you want. And we did just happen to find ourselves in a relationship where we check all the boxes for each other and it's a perfect relationship. So we're very, very happy together.
That's amazing. Would you really
Yeah,
call it a perfect
yeah,
relationship?
I would.
Wow. He's cementing it.
Yeah,
No,
dude.
no
It's
take back.
amazing. It's
That's
amazing.
awesome. And did you guys ever have any hardships?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have
Okay.
we have disagreements. There'll be arguments, but like I said,
No, but
I've
like any like, oh, I don't know if we should be together.
mm.
Because you guys have been together for a minute if you've been since 2012.
Well, so 2012, we just met. We were Facebook friends. We didn't even talk. We weren't even dating, nothing until 2020. So we're a COVID relationship. So we're 3 years in.
Oh,
3 years
okay.
in
For
some
some reason,
change.
I thought you
Yeah.
guys were together that
Mhm.
whole entire. Oh, because you guys are babies.
Babies, dude.
Yeah.
Babies.
Because I mean, Fernanda and I, we've been together since 2008.
There we go, my guy.
Yeah.
Congrats.
But we had our what we call the great divorce. It was like 4 years ago where we've been together for, I think like we've been married for 7 or something. Anyway, but like we're about to get a divorce because we're so checked out. Again, going back to the power of being present. We weren't present at all. We took everything for granted, all this stuff. But we're so grateful that we went through that time because
Yeah.
it stripped us bare and it finally allowed us to talk about the stuff we didn't talk about before.
Mm,
And
well,
so it
congrats,
grew
man.
us into
Yeah.
such a better couple and such a stronger relationship. So that's the
Congrats,
reason
bro.
why I asked.
That
Thanks.
yeah, that no, it's great. I'm glad that you didn't have to get divorced and like you were aware enough to go, wait a minute, we can fix this, right? Like plan B, that there was no plan B. Your
And it
your
goes
plan B didn't exist.
right. And it goes back to what you're saying, commitment. It sucked. And it's so funny when I've talked to my clients and other people that they talk about their relation. Oh, it sucks. But Fernanda and I, when we were about to get a divorce, like we didn't like each other at all. And we're just like, this is silly. Like, why are we even in this? And then we're like, okay, well, we're just going to do date nights. I remember one of our therapists, like, just start doing date nights. And she shout out to Sally Merck, amazing. She changed my life. She saved my marriage, all this. But her whole thing on therapy was stop trying to stay where you're at. But she's like, what used to work? And is like, oh, well, we used to do this. She's like, that's what you got to focus on. Because I'd be like, oh,
Mm,
Fernanda's not this. She's not this. She's not this. And she's like, was she ever that before? I'm like, no. She goes, then it's not an issue. You're just making it into an issue. It's like, oh. So anyway, so we started to do these date nights just to try to rekindle something. And a whole year, brother, a whole year. Can you imagine sitting across from someone you don't want to be with once a week for like an hour and a half, like, tell me about your day. I can't believe I'm here with you. Like, this is so stupid. Like, it was so awkward and weird for like the first
Yeah.
3 or 4 months, but goes
Yeah.
back to that commitment. Like, we're going to keep trying and keep doing this. And then we started to like see the other person all of a sudden. And that's how it started to grow all over again. But it probably took us at least like 6, 8 months to actually even want to talk to the person. But it probably took us like over a year to like get that spark back.
Congrats, man. Glad you did it.
Thanks. Me
Yeah.
too. We got a
That's
Corona kid from it. So
Yeah.
so
Yes.
it was worth something.
100%.
Okay.
Awesome.
Are you pressed for time? I know that you have time stuff.
I have cut off in 15 minutes. I have plenty of time.
Perfect. Okay,
Tons
perfect.
of time.
So I mean, that's awesome. I love your story, but I want to get into that beautiful mindset of yours, if that's okay.
Let's go, man. Let's do it.
Awesome. So you said that yours and Brittany podcast is big about, bridging the gap from poverty to prosperity. Like, what do you think someone needs as far as mindset to really bridge that gap and start to work on that?
You need 3 things. You
Whoa.
need to get very clear on why you're going to do it. You need to get pretty clear on how you're going to do it. And then you need to get relatively clear on what steps you're going to take to get to the how, which will lead you to the why. Right. So, like, what am I going to do? Cool. All right. So I know I'm going to work out. Got it. How am I going to work out? That's a lot of different answers. And then why am I going to work out? Those steps, you got to get very, very clear on those. And that's it. And it takes like an hour. Most people don't sit. The book is called Think and Grow Rich. Most people don't sit down in silence and think, right?
Yeah.
Like, just think, dude. Think for a little bit. No phone, no TV.
When do
no
you do your thinking?
in the morning, man. Well, I'll say in the morning. I go on walks at night. I go on walks in the day. I walk a lot. I go on
With a
hikes a lot.
podcast or no? Yes. Amen. Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Exactly.
I'll just be shirtless, walk around my neighborhood, or I go to a park and just walk and just think and
Just be present.
be present, hang out with some buddies, maybe talk to them. Had a really good hike this morning with a buddy named also Jerremy Tharp. And we're just talking about life and business and all the things. So yeah, just think about some things for a little bit. And once you get kind of clear, then when you come up with the how and the what, start executing.
But what if you can't think of it? Because I'm only going to go back to these overthinking, analytical, younger Creightons of the world, that they think they need to have it all figured out. And if I sit down and I'm like, okay, well, I want to be a millionaire, I don't know how I'm going to actually do that. And so that fear of the unknown paralyzes them to even come up with the action plan or do anything. Or they think they have to keep researching and they crave that certainty before doing anything.
Do the math. I mean, that's the answer on the how. All things are answerable by 2nd or 3rd grade math. So if you want to become a millionaire, figure out how much you need to work, sell, offer, provide, create, cook, like, what are the things that you're doing right now? So every single person that currently has a job can become a millionaire with their current job. You just have to figure out how much you keep working, how much do you or can you or should you make per hour, right? And if you do have a job, a business, a coaching plan, like whatever it is that you're offering to the world, whatever value you're creating, how much of it? So for example, if you sell $1,000 thing, whatever it is, lawn care service, like a really good lawn care service for $1,000. So it's an amazing lawn care, right? You're doing all the things. $1,000 thing to 1,000 people. That's $1 million.
Right.
That's what I did, man. Like the how has always been very clear to me. It was never that difficult. I just sat down and was like, all right, well, how many hours do I need to work to make $1 million? Or how much overtime do I need? Like when I worked at Nationwide, and I just got down to the whatever number I wanted to hit and just kind of reverse engineered it and came up with it. I think for a lot of people that's easy. And if not, if it's too hard, pick up 2 or 3 books, and books will change your life. Everyone knows that. Like I said, Think and Grow Rich, amazing book. You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. Life-changing book for me. Absolutely incredible. Those 2 books alone, you'll start figuring it out.
What about, I'm curious, because I want to, actually, let me jump in a little bit more on that. What about the person that's working 8 hours and they have a family? And because I'll run into this a lot of times when I'm doing my free coaching stuff, that people like, they're kind of up against the wall on their time commitment because they want to be a good father. They want to be there, but they have a job. Like, how can they find time and just stay motivated to keep moving forward? Because I think, I'm not sure about you, but those are the ones that I love to, because I love when someone's like, I don't want to give up my time with my family. I'm like, you're my guy. But the ones that are like, you know what, I'm willing to sacrifice any and everyone and destroy my relationships because I just want the money. Like, I mean, I like that, but I want to support the people that are big on family. So anyway,
100%. No, dude, 100%. You nailed it. Here's the thing. You don't have to change your job. You got to change your value. You can work the exact same job at the exact same company. There's probably a chance that someone at your company is doing pretty well. Maybe it's the owner. Maybe it's the CEO and you're the only other. I mean, I don't know. If you have a business, if you're working in a business, let's call it dry cleaners.
Okay.
How can someone who works at dry cleaners make $1 million? Is it even possible? And the answer is 1,000%. Absolutely. I know that because I worked at a quality cleaners when I was 16, and the owner of that quality cleaners was a millionaire, right? That dude made in cash about $500,000 a year. So it is possible if you work there, if you're in the front counter. Here's where I got creative. I was like, how can I get more customers in the door for my owner? Right. His name was Greg Johnson. How can I get more money in the door for him? Because if I get more customers in the door for him, he'll probably pay me more. If I'm faster with my time, how can I get more people in and out the door? And so I started memorizing people's faces, their cars. I see them pull up. I would have their order at the counter as soon as they walked in. I started memorizing the codes and writing the codes down in an Excel spreadsheet of like, you got to put the codes in the computer for like how you're ringing stuff up or whatever. There are ways that every single person who's watching or listening to this can become faster and more efficient at work. And it's not going to happen in a year where you make $1 million, but there are opportunities to do that at some level. And if you're like, well, listen, dude, that's impossible because I'm in sales. Become better at sales. Well, it's impossible, dude.
I feel like that's a cheating one. Yeah, that's pretty easy if you're in sales and yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like if you're a salaried worker at a hospital at HR and you're making $56,000 a year, figure out what problem exists in your hospital. Right? If you're working at HR, and there has to be some solution that you can create where if you expedite a process problem somewhere in your organization, then you will get and you can get paid and get rewarded and make your job faster, make it quicker.
What if you can't see that though? Because I agree to that. And I have my own thoughts. Like, I'll use my own. Back when I was engineering, it used to be if you made improvements to the company and whatever, you got a percent kickback of whatever improvements you made. But they went away with that. So then you were just making improvements essentially just to be moving yourself up the ranks within the business. That makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
That
totally.
they had fixed caps. And it's like, okay, so that's actually one of the things that made me quit was like, okay, well, I want to make, I want to double, triple my income. And they're like, oh, well, you have to be, a C-level, become an executive. And I was like, oh, I don't want to, do 5-10 years to do it. Plus I didn't like the work. So.
Yeah, no, 100, you nailed it, man. 100%. I mean, so essentially hire you. That's what they should do. They should hire you. They should reach out to you if you're in that situation and pay you your hourly rate for coaching, and you will be able to help them come up with ideas. If you can't think of the ideas, get someone else to help you, either if it's free or if you pay for it. It doesn't matter, but that's what books will do. Books will give you outside perspective, get additional voice. I mean, if you listen to enough Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn and Les Brown and Eric Thomas and Earl Nightingale and Alan Watts and Brene Brown and Mel Robbins, I don't know how you can't think of one tiny incremental change in yourself that you
Right.
can make that will help you become a better Uber driver. Right? Because if you're a better Uber driver, you can make more money in tips and you'll get more business contacts and relationships, and you can start being a personal driver. And then you'll find that there's actually black limousine services that you could do. And so instead of being an Uber driver, you can just drive limousines. It's like, hey, it's kind of the same thing, but you work less and get paid more.
Right.
And then eventually you could probably go buy your own limousine company or your own limousine car and then just do it yourself and hire out yourself and go drive around people in a limousine. They probably would feel really nice and classy pulling up to an airport in a limousine. Who knows? And they probably will pay a little bit more for it. Long story short, it's there. It's available. Money grows on trees. Money is everywhere. It is everywhere. $84 billion goes in and out of Tesla every single day in the US stock market. That's one stock on one market on one asset class. Tesla, $84 billion. Every day, $4 trillion goes in and out of the stock market, the US stock market, every single day. US stock market, 4 trillion. Every year is 4 quadrillion US dollars go in and out of the stock market. That's 4,000 trillions. The money is there. Go get it. And you're not taking it away from anyone else. There's so much out there. It's like if you go to the ocean, take a cup of water of the ocean, you take it to your house, you put on your desk. Did you take some of the ocean with you? No. You could do that for the rest of your life, for the rest of humanity, and nothing will ever change because more water will just come from the rain cycles, from ice caps, from whatever. The water is going to be there. You have so much. It's okay. Don't stress about it. Go get as much as you want.
I love that. Amen. Boom. I was going to say, I will only add on. I want to, even if you're at a job that you don't see it, I want to give you some free for whoever's watching this, a free tip. Just get better. No matter what you get better at, just getting better, you're going to be getting a skill set that's going to lead to money later on. But if you stay the same, and that's why I love about Jerremy that he's pushing himself doing these physical challenges, like those transfer into other areas of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're at a job that you don't see it, push yourself to get better at that job. You're going to get more recognition. You're going to learn a new skill set that you might not see how that's going to make you a millionaire this year. But I guarantee just by you growing, you're shifting from where you're at into a new reality, and that's what's going to create it. So that's for the people that can't see it, because I know there's some people that are going to be the amazing Newsomes out there that are like, I'm going to calculate, this is it. But there's going to be these other people like, oh, I got a fixed job, I can't do it. Like, I don't know how to do it, so I'm not going to do anything. Do something.
Correct.
Something is always better than nothing, because it'll lead you. If I didn't go to Joe Dispenza, I wouldn't have met you. So,
and then we're gonna do some more stuff together. By the way, that's coming. So I'm really pumped.
now I'm a little worried.
Yeah, well, we're at least doing the 4x4 on April 4th, 2024.
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
Minimum.
Okay. So before I let you get out of here, what's the hardest decision that you have ever had to make?
Leaving the witness organization. That's a scary one. Yeah, it's a scary one because like you're taught that God's going to hate you. He's not going to love you. No one's going to talk to you. You're going to die.
Your identity.
Nameless and alone. And you'll never be part of any religion. You'll never be happy. So that was a big one. I was like, I don't know. I just don't believe that. I think God is love. I think the chapter in James says God's love. I was like, I don't think God's going to be that way. And if I'm supposed to believe the Bible's real, I believe that God's love, which I do. I think I'm going to be just fine.
Yeah. What would you say to what do you think you needed to hear back then to help you push through that hard decision?
In the witness organization, you're taught that if anyone who leaves is an apostate, and apostate is the worst sin that you can commit in the religion. If I would have been told literally the definition of apostate is someone who leaves a religious organization, that would have helped me so much, because I'm like, oh, I thought it was a whole classification for just one sin that witnesses can commit. But it would have helped me a lot if it was like, no, dude, it's actually a word in the Bible or dictionary and Bible. It's just like a random word. It just means someone who left the religious organization. Don't stress about it. It's not an unforgivable sin. You're still loved. You're still perfect. You're still great. Go enjoy your life.
I love that. So you think if you would have told yourself that, you would have believed that BS? You've been like, oh yeah, I believe this guy with the beard. He's handsome enough.
I think it would have helped. Yeah, it would have helped. It would have helped. Would have helped shift me a little bit. And because I'm a very literal person. And so if I can see it and touch it and feel it, I'll believe it.
which which I'm gonna call some BS on that, because back in the day when you started this whole dreaming and not losing your Zell, like you couldn't see and feel and all that. So I don't believe that necessarily.
Well, yeah, I mean, it happened though, right? Like
Yeah.
I made some money, so I was able to like, I
Yeah.
had evidence that it worked. That's
No, I
really it.
know.
Like I just
But
like
prior,
you.
you just had the belief and the dream,
Sure,
which I think is amazing.
sure.
You're similar to my wife. She's all about dreaming. I think her and Svetlana are actually really similar, that they're all mystical and see the potential that we
That's so
can't
good.
see. So,
That's so good.
all right, bro, I'm gonna let you get out of here.
Yeah.
What are you currently working on? What are you excited about right now?
I I got a bike race across Tennessee in 2 weeks. And then I got the Ironman. I'm going to release my book at the end of the year called Master Yourself, Master the Markets, Real Life Trading Psychology. That'll be
Wow.
really great. And yeah, those are the two big ones. The two or three big ones. And then the rest is like creation, figuring out the next really, really big thing that I'm going to do, putting myself in the right place and figuring out exactly where that place is, and understanding that I'm going to be in that place physically, literally, hypothetically, metaphorically. I'm going to be there. And that spot, once I figure out where it is going to help me propel into the future.
Love it. If anyone wants to help you, how can they help you out right now?
I would love for people just to reach out to me on Instagram, just like me and you chat on Instagram pretty often. It's just Jerremy Newsome, Jerremy with 2 R's. My dad's name was Jerry. So it stands for Jerry and me.
Oh, there you go. I was
Yeah,
wondering, you
dude.
got me.
There it is. There it is.
Jerremy.
So just shoot me a message and let's chat. I would love to figure out a way to pour into you. Let's see what we can all do together. The world's a beautiful place, man. It's a very massive, very expansive, and very large, and filled with abundance and prosperity.
Love it. And is that where you want people to go after you, is on your Instagram, or what about your YouTube? I know you post tons of free content on trading on there.
Yeah, Instagram. But I mean, my website, my trading website is reallifetrading.com. 99% of the material, over 800 hours of content, is entirely free. You get your master's and bachelor's degree, essentially kind of, in the stock market for free. Doesn't cost anything other than your time. So go enjoy it. And yeah, pop over there and just shoot me a message and let me know how it was.
Awesome, bro. Dude, I can't thank you enough. I've had such an amazing time. Thank you for giving me some of your amazing energy. And I can't wait to connect in the future, brother.
You rock, my man. Thank you so much.
Love you, man.
Love you too, big guy. See ya.
See ya.